Kia ora koutou and welcome to A Historian Plays Twilight Struggle, a stream through of me playing Twilight Struggle. Now, why am I qualified to talk about this? Well, first of all, I have a YouTube channel so I can talk about whatever I want. But I'm also a trained historian. I have a bachelor's degree in political science and history, a postgraduate diploma in defense and strategic studies, a master's in international relations, and I also got a postgraduate diploma in teaching high school history. So that's my academic background. My board gaming background you probably know because you're on the channel. So what we're going to do is we're just going to play through a game of Twilight Struggle, and I'm just going to comment about the cards, the history, some of the tactics and strategy in Twilight Struggle. I haven't played in a couple of months, so I'm probably a little rusty, so this should be interesting. So let's load in. We're going to play offline, of course, and we are going to play as the Soviet Union. And the reason for that is the Soviets had the initiative early in the game, and it's probably easier to teach or talk about the game from the perspective of the Soviets because, you know, they've got the initial impetus. So let's start the game. Place 6 influence. Alright, so let's have a look at what we've got in our hand. We've got the China card, containment. Well, that's a good one to start off with. Indo-Pakistan War, Independent Reds, Japan Mutual Defense Pact, Suez Crisis. Okay, so we got a pretty good hand here, and we need to place 6 influence in Eastern Europe. Now, I tend to go for a little bit of overstack in Poland, East Germany, just because they're very easy to lose 1 or 2 points of influence in there. And we'll put another one just in Austria because it's adjacent to Italy. This is maybe not the strongest opening, but it's a good opening. They've gone for a pretty normal opening of putting 4 in West Germany and 3 in Italy. So 3 in Italy is a bit of a bulwark to stop an early coup attempt there, which would be a pretty good opening move. I've got no scoring cards, so I don't know where they're going to be going, or don't know really where to go strong to start with. If I had scoring cards, that might inform my decision. So I think I'm just going to play Containment as my headline card. So at the start of each turn, you play a headline card, and you play it for its... Oh no, that's their one. That's Containment. Sorry, I thought it was the other one. Ooh, that changes things. I don't actually have a particularly good headline card here. France, UK, and Israel. There's no influence in France. There's barely any... I wouldn't get much value out of that one at the moment. Ooh. I don't have a particularly good headline card to go with. Because I was thinking of, from the US perspective, about containment. That's not particularly useful. I guess I'm just gonna headline Captured Nazi Scientist. So this one, the background for Captured Nazi Scientist is, these are the early war cards, so these are cards from 1945 through to the sort of 60s, and there were a lot of really good rocket technicians in Nazi Germany, and not a lot of them spent much time in prisoner of war camps. So we'll headline that. They headline the Marshall Plan, which is an incredibly strong card. And so the Marshall Plan was a response by the Americans to introduce funding to help stabilize Western Europe. So immediately after the war, there was a lot of economic uncertainty. You know, they'd just been through a 6-year-long war, and the US pumped a fair bit of money into Western Europe, and boom, there it goes, builds up a whole bunch of influence. So we get an auto success on the space race. That does mean we can use the Suez Crisis now, but not particularly useful. And they've shored up Italy. Okay, so really our opening move here needs to be something strong, and I think we're going to try and coup in Iran. So taking a coup is usually a good move for the Soviets to open up with, because the DEF contract's pretty high. If the DEF contract gets too low, coups get much more dangerous. It also gives you military ops points, which you need to do a certain number of each turn. And if we look at the map, you'll see that Iran is one of the few places that the Americans can build influence inside of the Middle East. So, yeah, we'll try coup attempt using the nuclear test ban. See how it goes. Boom! We gain 4 military op points, and DEFCON decreases, and it's now the Americans' turn. Actually, I have quite an ugly hand. I'm not hugely impressed with this. At least we'll be able to get rid of independent reds pretty early. We're now waiting for our opponent to decide. Okay. So they've just given us some influence in Central America with Fidel, who was, of course, Fidel Castro, the leader of Cuba, who, you know, only recently passed away. He was a thorn on the American side for a very long time. So now I'm looking at the board. They've got a pretty strong influence there in Europe, and that's going to be a right pain in the ass to deal with. So let's have a look. Suez Crisis. Really don't want to use that if I don't have to. But I do need some ops points somewhere. Yep, I think we'll do independent reds. So this is one of their events, and allows them to place equal influence to match USSR influence. I don't have any influence in those areas deliberately, and this represents people like Tito, who did not toe the Soviet line all the time. So I think I'm going to... Oof. 3 battlegrounds. This is not nice. I think we will get some influence in Turkey. If they've got the European scoring card, I'm going to be down quite a few points pretty early on. So I think I probably should start swinging into Asia and the Middle East. Okay, UN intervention. That means I can play an event card with... Oh, and it's a really good event card too. They're trying to coup. Okay, so they tried... Yeah, so I'm just going to place influence, and I'm going to shore up. Oh, we'll just go back a bit. We'll go place influence. We'll shore up Iran, and let's gain Syria as well. So that gives us sort of counterbalance in the Middle East. Not the strongest play, but could be worse. Korean War, an opponent's event. Okay. Ha! So yeah, we successfully, because that was one of our events, it went in our favor, and we just gained some victory points. And secured North Korea. Oh, I think we already had North Korea. No, South Korea flipped over to us. That is great, because I've got the US-Japan Mutual Defense Pact, and I can bury that. So we might be able to start pushing out into Asia. They're really determined to get back into the Middle East. They do not want me having that. I'm inclined to just use the Suez Crisis for its points. Now, the Suez Crisis was one of the last hurrahs of UK sort of imperialism. It's around the nationalisation of the Suez Canal. The UK deployed forces down there, and it was a bit of an international embarrassment. Eisenhower got on the phone to Anthony Eden and barracked him out and said, "Get the fuck out of Egypt." So we are going to just place influence for this one, and I think we're just going to boom, boom, boom in there, just to annoy the Americans, as we now fully control the Middle East. 3 rounds remain. So I'm probably going to like fade out while the AI is deciding, just because this will eat up a lot of time, unless I've got something to say. Decolonization. That goes on there. Okay, speaking of the space race, that is probably a really good place to put the US-Japan Mutual Defense Pact. But I don't succeed. The US-Japan Mutual Defense Pact, by the way, is considered by a lot of people the single most important bilateral relationship the US had during the Cold War. When you consider the position of Japan at the, as an unsinkable aircraft carrier off the off the east coast of the Soviet Union, became a very, very, very important ally. The Korean War went down there. It was just generally have a pro-Western country just there acting as a bulwark against China and the Soviet Union was a really big deal for the Americans. The delicious irony is, of course, that because of the occupation, the Americans forced Japan to adopt a peace constitution, which meant that they weren't allowed to go to war or be a warlike people or have an aggressive facing military. And that seemed like a really good idea in 1946 and 47. And then the Korean War happened and the Americans wanted to sort of revoke that almost immediately. The Japanese were like, no, we're good. You've shown us the error of our ways. We are not going to go to war again. Which is kind of hilarious. And I'm going to play Containment just to all further cards for the play by the US's turn get 1 added to the value. This is the last play, so they will get 1 go with this. And we are going to pile into there. We also need a non-battleground country. Let's probably just start getting into Afghanistan. Alright. Oh, continue. Romanian abdication. Alright, so no one lost any points there because we all did enough military operations. Containment stops working. And we draw back to 8. I kept the China card just because I haven't seen them push too hard into Asia. I didn't know what the scoring round was. And I've got Middle East scoring. Fantastic. Okay, what have we got in here? We have the Olympic Games. It's pretty straightforward. Blockade, so it's Berlin blockade card. This is a card I've talked about before as being a trap. If the US player doesn't have a 3 or more value card, it can be absolutely crushing. This seems like a good one for me to start off with because they've currently got a big lead in Europe. I need to start doing some stuff in Europe. Let me have a look at... Yeah, getting rid of the Truman Doctrine pretty early is not a bad idea either. What do we got? Warsaw Pact formed. That's a good card. Red Scare. great card as well. This is a much stronger hand to the point where yeah, I think I'm going to take this one just in case they play the Europe scoring card. Okay, DEFCON 2, that's not great. And right here, I really just want to pile on the pressure and bring France onto our side. So I'm going to use Red Scare, which is a great card, or Purge. So this represents that both the US and the USSR were both involved in internal witch hunts at various times. It's Stalin, there's various purges, and you of course have the McCarthy era witch hunts. So we're just going to place influence, and we're going to pile into France. And we have flipped that one over to us. We're also just going to shore up our Asia scoring. So right now we are in a pretty good position. We have Asia, the Middle East, and Europe all leaning our way. Alright, Eastern European unrest. And that is why that particular card just there is exactly why I like to have some overstock in Europe. We're going to score 3 points there. We can probably do that now without really any repercussions, or I can start pushing elsewhere. I kind of just want to get that Truman Doctrine out of the way because it's such a pain in the ass. One uncontrolled country. So I'll lose one influence in Finland, which really is not a big deal. Yep, so let's resolve event first. And then, what can we do with that? They're trying to get into Pakistan there. Alright, let's start. Actually, let's recover a little bit of our influence in Eastern Europe. That was a silly idea. I should just use Warsaw Pact later on. Alright, NATO. And they're using it for influence. Because they really don't want me controlling France. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm going to use this for its influence, and yeah, feel free to just get into a extended fight with me here. So we just had NATO and the Warsaw Pact removed, which and not played as events. So NATO is North Atlantic Treaty Organization, France, Western Germany, UK, Canada, USA, and a bunch of other countries. Essentially a military alliance on one side of the Iron Curtain that went down Central Europe, and on the other side you had the Warsaw Pact of Czechoslovakia, Poland, Hungary, and the USSR, and the other client states over that way. So they were the two great military alliances or security alliances of the Cold War in Europe. Okay. They're now pushing into there, so can we do that? Yes, I think we can. No. Let's just. I'm going to gamble on blockade, and we're going to play the event. Let's see what happens. So this is the Berlin blockade, where the Soviets blocked off. Berlin is inside East Germany at this point. So it's a city split into 4 districts, one governed by the UK, another by France, another by the US, and one by the Soviet Union. But it's within Soviet-controlled area, and they tried cutting off all supplies to it. So there was a massive airlift campaign. Let's see if they can respond to that. Whoa! They could not. So West Germany has completely become abandoned as a resource thing, and if they don't have some good follow-up cards, this is going to get really ugly for them. Awesome. So another Arab-Israeli war. This is a war card that can be played multiple times because there were multiple Arab-Israeli wars. We have a massive opening in West Germany now. They're probably going to put that 2 influence there. No. They did not. Damn it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to play the China card, which means China goes back over to them for next turn, but we are just locking down West Europe, and that means I have to play my Middle East scoring card next turn. That's fine. That was an opportunity I couldn't let pass. Asia scoring, okay. That could have been worse. Yes, you must play a scorecard or lose the game. I think I will play a scorecard. I'll play Middle East scoring. And do they have the Europe scoring? Yes, they have the Europe scoring card. And this is going kind of well. Like, it's a game played at 20 points. We're 15 ahead after 2 rounds. So let's see what we can do. Oh, I got the US-Japan Mutual Defense Pact again. That's hilarious. Now, I don't know if they've got any additional scoring cards. Okay, what are we going to do? I think I'm going to open with... Oh... No, maybe not. Yeah, we'll just open with NASA. Right. Again, this is why I like having a little buffer in Eastern Europe. So yeah, well, I might actually just play this for the influence. So if it does cycle back around, then again, we've still got advantage here. So I'm gonna push, and I'm gonna play this on the space race. And the reason for that is now I can play another card on the space race and maybe get some more victory points. And that'll lock down... Well, that'll force them to... Well, it's just an easy way to get victory points. Alright, they're trying to coup at 3. Where are they going? Oh! Big Egyptian coup. Right, now this leaves me with a slight problem as... I can't coup in battleground countries while DEFCON 2 is in place, because that will end the game unfavorably. I can't play the Olympic Games now because they will boycott, and that will end the game unfavorably. So I need to... Let's try space race card. Yep. 2 more victory points. So this is hopefully giving the AI the sweats as we throw away the US-Japan alliance for the second time. Alright, they're using the China card. Probably going to use it in Asia. Alright, they have the Asia scoring card at my guess, because they've just flipped Asia back to their side. So we need to go hard here while we can. We're going to place influence. We're going to flip that one. And where else can we go? So we both have 2 battleground countries. Yep. So I'd really like to get into Thailand or somewhere like that, but that is not going to be easy. So let us just... It costs more influence to do that, to flip over one of theirs, but actually no, it's not really that good a play. Let's do that again. We'll go place influence, boom. Yeah, let's try and just get into Japan. See what they do, because at the moment it's tied. Now there's an interesting thing about Twilight Struggles. It does have some sort of glaring problems. What do we got? Red Scare, 4 influence. Yeah. They might have scoring cards, because they're not the Europe ones, so they are acting a little desperate. And that is that it is an abstraction. It has to be an abstraction of a very complex thing. But it really does buy into that idea that there were 2 players in the Cold War, and there's not a lot of representation of agency by anyone else. It's all whatever the great powers are doing, that's what happens. So let us place influence, and we will secure that one back, and a 3rd battleground country. Let's see what they do to respond. Yeah, I've got no ops, so I'm going to lose 2 victory points at the end of the round. Okay, so they've just flipped the Middle East on me. So I'm going to play this one for its event, in order to play duck and cover without any perils. And we're going to go here. Yeah. Stabilize the Middle East. Duck and cover, of course, being the famous PR campaign that was run in the US during the 50s. That, you know, when a nuclear bomb comes along, duck and cover and you'll be okay. Ah, fantastic. Just what the doctor ordered. So yeah, they probably have the Asia scoring card. 2 battlegrounds, 3 non-battlegrounds. If I can... Yep, just place some influence here. We'll flip Japan, we'll add in there, and we now dominate Asia. And that's it. Well, okay. Yeah, the scoring will end the game. Okay, maybe I shouldn't play that well. So that concludes part 1 of the series, where I kind of go through a very short game and talk about things. I might come back and do a longer game and see if we can't pick it up from the mid-war. Because I didn't really get to talk about that many cards. The game kind of just ended on turn 3. Oh well, hopefully you enjoyed that very brief game of Twilight Struggle. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the notification. I really don't. I'm kind of blown away by how quick that was and how easy that was. Most games don't end that quickly, even against the AI. The AI is normally a bit better than that. That was a pretty sweet run. Yeah, anyway, if you do have questions about Twilight Struggle or about the Cold War in general and how it's depicted in this game, let me know in the comments. And I might do another one of these in a wee while, that for a longer game. And yeah, take care all.